this is, I described it as unusual. What is this whole, hey, why don't you give us some of your profits and then we won't be so concerned about the national security grounds, this deal. And now the pushback or the reporting you saw from Bloomberg is maybe China doesn't want the chips after all. What's going on here?
Yeah, well, look, it's the new rules of the game. And at the end of the day, big tech has to sell into China. Because if you can't sell into China, Nvidia, which is the godfather of AI Jensen, Nvidia, if they can sell, that gives Huawei more and more power. And they're not going to give them 15, 17 billion of revenues. Look, so the reality is it's a tax they're paying. But
right.
look, when they say China, that companies are not going to buy these chips, that's like telling kids don't eat the candy.
So they'll still be able to make some money in China. But the U.S. companies, you said it at the beginning, it's a good way of putting it. This is the rules of the game. So they got to put, someone look at it and said, this is a shakedown from Trump, but this is going to keep happening if they want to have this market, which is a huge market. So we'll see more deals like this, you think?
Look, why do you think Cook from Apple was in the White House last week? You got to play nice in the sandbox.
Right, with that trophy and the whole thing and $100 billion, which got him the exemption from the tariffs.
It's a deal you can't refuse, right? So it just comes down to big tech CEOs are understanding the rules of the game. But look, we're in an AI revolution. It's the biggest tech trend in the last 40, 50 years. You cannot just sit there, stand on principle and say, okay, we're not going to sell into China. That is the reality of what's happening right now. And I think, look, Trump administration, they've also stepped back from the cliff. They recognize they got to give U.S. tech companies access to China.
At the end of the day, and of course some of this is unknown because we don't know how the trade deal with China will come down yet. There's been another extension. How does business change for technology companies based in the U.S. in China? Like, what's the big difference going forward, or will it be just same game, different rules?
No, I think there's three big differences. I mean, one, they're going to have to sell into China with restrictions. I mean, in terms of government sanctions and, making sure they're selling the right chips, software, everything else. Two, I believe, depending on the deal, it could actually give them a bigger opportunity, depending on the U.S.-China deal. So when you look at software companies and they've been able to sell into China, that potentially could give them maybe a bigger bite at the apple. And I think third, look, for the first time in 30 years, the U.S. is ahead of China when it comes to tech. They know that they have ultimately in this poker game the better hand, and that's going to give them more strength.
Now, you mentioned the AI revolution, which we're in the midst of right now. What's going on with this Elon Musk thing? I know you followed Tesla for a long time, so you followed Musk for a long time. He posts on social media, on X, of course, saying that Apple is behaving in a manner that makes it impossible for any AI company besides OpenAI to reach #1 in the App Store, which is an unequivocal antitrust violation. So XAI will take immediate legal action. So I know he's got some issues with OpenAI. Is this an important story? I mean, what's going on with this?
Look, I think Musk is also seizing on some of the momentum in terms of antitrust, going after Apple, of course, Google and others. But look, it speaks to some of the, every big tech company is going after the AI revolution. And Musk is a wartime CEO right now. We look at Grok and XAI. Look, Apple doesn't need his legal headache. And Musk is not someone that's really going to stop. So, look, it's a soap opera entering the next chapter.
Yeah, real quick on AI, we'll talk about this maybe next time you're on. Apple, you mentioned, they're so far behind everyone else. Is that true? I mean, they're killing Apple on this?
I mean, right now, it's an F1 race in Monza, and Apple's drinking a cappuccino from the stands. That's why, in my opinion, they're going to need to get aggressive when it comes to M&A. We've talked about Perplexity as the deal.
Right. Yeah, I've been using Perplexity more on a personal level there the last few days and stuff. It's pretty impressive, the stuff that they do. You think Apple buys Perplexity?
Matter of time. They're going to have to do something big because they can't look at this AI party from the outside looking through the windows.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.